My name is Belma Vardy, and this is my story. I was born in Toronto. My mom tried to abort me. When I was 26 months old, she did successfully abort a baby boy. My father said to her, "Why don't you go to Germany to recuperate? That's where her parents lived, and take Belma with you." And so when she got there, she told my grandparents a lie. She said her and my father were divorced, which wasn't true. And they said, "Leave Belma with us till you get your life in order." So I ended up staying in Germany, now living with my grandparents. We lived there throughout the Berlin Wall massacre. We were woken up one night at 2 in the morning with bright lights and pounding of feet. We saw people running by our home in their pajamas with these terrified looks on their faces. We didn't know what was going on, so my grandfather boarded up all the windows with plywood, and my grandmother shaved off all my hair because they kidnapped little girls in the war. So she was afraid if they knew I was a little girl, they'd kidnap me. I saw things little 5-year-old girl should have never seen. There was people shot, left on the street, and dead horses on the street. And that was just to scare us. You know, they had hung people in trees. So it was a terrifying time to live in Berlin. My mother got remarried, and her husband put her under pressure. "Well, you have a daughter, she should come live with you." So my grandparents brought me over and came to Canada at the age of 8. I lived with my mother for the next 7 years, and I found myself in an abusive situation until the police and the Children's Aid came and pulled me out. I remember when I was 13, and my mother had just beaten me up. I remember seeing a tunnel, a long tunnel, and at the end of it was a light. So I felt that little encounter with God, that little sign that He gave me hope, and that's what kept me going. I always tried to fill the void. So I ended up going into a modeling career, thinking that would fill the void. And that would give me affirmation, attention, love that my mom didn't give me. And the truth of the matter is, the more I got into modeling jobs and film work, I felt like I was going down this very deep, dark hole. It wasn't a good lifestyle. And it's not an honest industry. It was in the middle of this where I had been invited to now go to LA and to Beverly Hills, and I was going to be doing a movie there. And then I met Jesus. I went to a church with my girlfriend. It was a house church. The people there were singing, their hands were raised. The preacher talked about healing. A woman, she went up to the front with a cane. She was limping because her one leg was shorter than the other. She sat on a chair. The preacher put his hands up to pray for her, didn't touch her, and I watched that leg grow out. And I knew in my heart, nobody could have done that but Jesus. And I believed right away when I saw that. I had the faith to go up and give my life to Him. The next day, I booked out of the modeling agency. I didn't sign a contract that I was about to sign 2 days later. And I knew that modeling is not the answer. Jesus is the answer. And then I remembered a song I heard the night before, but I only remembered 2 lines of it. "Are you washed in the blood, in the soul-cleansing blood of the Lamb?" That was the beginning of my love expression to Jesus my way of communicating to him, his way of communicating with me. It was intimacy I'd never experienced. I find that the movement brings healing. And yes, I've had a lot of healing myself because I just keep pushing through and wanting to seek the face of God. And as I seek his face and go beyond the veil, so to speak, that's where he meets me. And I bring what's called the River of Healing. It's 50 pounds of blue material. I set it up as a river, and people walk through it. Unbeknown to me, but people get healed walking through that river. One family, the mother gave testimony of how her daughter had committed suicide, and they needed to forgive. So they took that into the river and let that go. My grandparents left me an inheritance, and they left my mom and I an inheritance. So my mom would get $250,000 and I would get $250,000. When they passed away, I received a call from a lawyer in Germany and the police, and they said, your mother is in Germany and she's stolen your inheritance. When she passed away, I received a call from the police to say, come and identify her body. I had to clean out her house, and as I did that, I felt, it was devastating for me because I found so much evidence of her stealing from me, my inheritance. I went for counseling, and then after 2 years, I was healed enough to want to honor my mom. I had forgiven her, and I thought, what can I do to honor her? I ended up giving her the best funeral I've ever been to. The truth is, I received an inheritance from my Father God that opened up the windows of heaven and opened up a ministry that I can't even hold back, and it's a ministry of forgiveness. And I can share that story because I've lived it.